I love ETN.
ETN, movies, games, oh, and boobs.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and now we are back on track for the March of the King series. This is it. This is the home stretch, people. We got the Millennium series to cover, and once that's over, it'll take us into the week where the Godzilla movie will come out, and in that week, I will be doing two movies. I will be doing Godzilla Raids again, and the original Gojira 1954. Tonight, we are starting the Millennium series off with Godzilla 2000. You know, this movie, I remember when it came out in 2000, it came out in the theaters. Never got a chance to see it in the theaters. It was only in select areas. And, you know, I was like, oh, man, you know, didn't get a chance to go and check it out. Obviously, when it came out later on DVD, definitely got to see it. And, you know, tonight was probably the third time I've seen it overall. I hadn't seen it in a while. And honestly, I don't remember it being as good as it is. I think, like, tonight, I actually enjoyed watching the movie. Like, I'm not saying that the last time I watched it, I recall it like sucking or anything. I just didn't like it as much. But I think it's because at that time, I wasn't a big fan of the suit. Where over time, as time has progressed, I've grown to like the suit a lot more. It's still not my favorite one. Obviously, everybody knows my favorite one's the 84, and I have two other suits that I like before this one. But I think what I like about this one is probably that neck area with the little, it's kind of like ripped, and which is odd because that's one portion of the suit that I least liked back in the day. But as I said, it's grown on me over time. Godzilla Millennium was very, very different from, in my opinion, than some of the other movies up to that point. First of all, it's kind of funny. I'm watching a movie and they incorporated some of the roars from Zilla in '98. I thought that was interesting. Now, I don't know if that's different on the Japanese version. I have the American version, so I'm guessing they might have changed that up, because that's one thing I don't recall people mentioning about the movie, is that Godzilla's roar, at least 4 or 5 times in the movie, is identical to Zilla's. He still has the traditional one, but there's a couple of times he pulls out the Zilla roar. So that might have been an American thing, something they did to the movie when they got it. Now, obviously, the story, you know, Godzilla's had aliens in his movies plenty of times, so the alien factor didn't bother me one bit. I'm used to that. Ghidorah himself originally is an alien, a monster from outer space. So I thought that was fine. Like, I didn't mind that. You know, the movie was very, you know, even though all these Godzilla movies are, you know, a little far-fetched, this one I felt, for some reason, just the story was a little bit better than some of the more recent ones I recall watching. And not because it's anything realistic or stuff like that. Just, I don't know, it just kind of flowed a little bit better for me. I mean, you got to see Godzilla right off the bat. And, you know, this, I kind of like the idea of the alien ship being submerged under sea for so long, because it requires light or solar energy to continuously, you know, get itself moving, up and moving. And but I think the best part of the movie for me, let's be honest, is the fight. The fighting is great. I mean, he took a butt whooping in the end, especially when the aircraft, or rather the spaceship, was above that one building, and Godzilla's kind of looking around, and then he goes like this, and boom, here comes a big, big building block, just boom, right on his head. And, you know, I thought it was cool that the story revolved around this alien trying to adapt to Earth's environment and utilizing Godzilla's, one of his probably most powerful defensive abilities in his regeneration. And, you know, it's when he started taking his power from him, his DNA he was sucking up, and then you kind of saw his transformation. I mean, you know, Orga is a very, very unique monster. He's very bulky. He looks creepy. And the ability to, I guess, for lack of a better term, life tap, you know, take the DNA, and then you can see him slowly, like, almost adopting Godzilla's look, as, you know, even when Godzilla ran into his mouth, which, it's funny, when I remember when I first saw the movie, I can never understand why he did that, and now I do. He obviously did it to, you know, to trick the monster into halfway consuming him, so that way he could do his impulse power and blow him up. I thought the fight scene was great. You know, like I said, for some reason, I just really enjoyed the movie a lot better than I recall enjoying it before. And I think the suit has a lot to do with that. You know, now that I've spent time on YouTube, and I've gotten to know a lot of you guys, subscribers, and I've gotten to know people like Richie So and Goji, and I've seen the action figures, and, you know, I'm thinking that maybe I just didn't, at that time, watch it enough to really, really let it grow on me, where now, since I've seen, like, you know, pictures, so many pictures, and I've seen the action figures, and now seeing the movie, yeah, it's definitely a unique suit. It's very, very unique. There's still some elements about it that I don't like. while I love Godzilla spikes, I think their spikes are just overdone. I mean, they're so ridiculously big. And then the purple tips, I'm not too crazy about either. His bite, his mouth. I mean, there's like too many teeth for his mouth, and he's got like this crazy overbite or underbite, or actually a little bit of both. But outside of that, I like the definition of the body. That I gotta say. I mean, he doesn't look chubby like the Heisei Godzilla. The Heisei Godzilla was very bulky. He had rolls on his leg. This Godzilla, obviously much smaller in centimeters. I think he was like, I remember you saying this before in one of my fantasy battles, because I used the Godzilla 2000 body in the description, and I think he was about 54 to 60 centimeters tall, so not as tall as some of the older ones, but definitely had a good definition to the build. And I think that's one thing I appreciate about the suits. It's got very, very good definition. The neck area is an area that I never liked very much, but it's grown on me. I actually like it very much now. And I think it's just because it's very unique. It's very different from all the other suits. So it definitely has some elements about it that are great, that I really do like, but there's some elements about it where I just think it's too overdone, in particular the spikes. The movie in and of itself, overall, I enjoyed it. I think the movie had, a decent sci-fi story. It wasn't too over the top like some of the other ones. I mean, I think another thing I appreciated was at least the attempt at special effects and CGI. When that flying saucer was flying around, you didn't get a rope dangling it over a plastic city. You actually got a shot of the city, and you got a CGI'd flying saucer in the picture. Albeit not great, clearly did not integrate very well. But I like the fact that they tried to do that. I like the fact that they were trying to step up their game and do that. And I think that's something that Toho has to do going forward if they ever want to make movies again with Godzilla over there, not related to America. I think that's something they need to tackle more. And you know what? It doesn't have to be done perfect. I don't expect perfection from them, because none of these Godzilla movies are perfect. You can criticize almost anything about them. We obviously appreciate them because we're fans. We appreciate them because there is a lot of effort put into it, especially when these guys are in those suits. You can't deny that or take that away. There's no kind of words that could express the difficulty it must be to be in those suits and perform the way these people perform, the way these men perform. And even the Orga suit. I mean, can you imagine the dude that was in that suit? You know what I mean? So, but it was entertaining. The orange breath, obviously, that's a big thing that everybody likes, and people have asked me in the past, is that something you think we'll see in a movie? I don't think so. I mean, Gareth seems to be going old school, so I don't think it's going to be orange now. And if you want to use the game as an example, maybe that's confirmation that it's not going to be blue, but, nothing is officially confirmed for that movie until we actually see it. But Godzilla Millennium, I thought it was entertaining. I surprisingly enjoyed it. I don't Before I put it on, I said to myself, well, I don't remember liking this movie, so let's see how it goes, because I haven't seen it in a while. But I thought it was cool. I thought it was a good movie. It was enjoyable. Orga is a very, very unique monster. I liked the transformation for that monster. I mean, it was kind of funny because when it first took his G cells, and it's sitting in the middle of the street, and it's got these two little blue eyes, and it almost looks like a Casper the Friendly Ghost type deal. It just looked cute for a second there. Then it mutates into this horrible looking thing. And the spaceship, obviously, both tag teaming Godzilla. Godzilla's focusing on Orga 1 minute, next minute catches a side swipe to the side of the head. In terms of the characters, of course, I never remember these guys' names because I don't focus on them as much as I focus on the monsters and the kaijus. But God, I gotta say, I felt bad for that reporter chick, boy. They kept treating her like crap. They kept calling her an imbecile. The one guy who was kind of head, I don't want to say he was head of the military, but obviously he was a guy with much power. Obviously, he used to be buddies with the other guy who was running the, I think it was called the Prediction or something like that network, GPN, and him and his daughter, and obviously him and the guy used to work together. And then this other professor, or rather scientist, that was with the head honcho guy. And I think the best scene for me in this whole movie, honestly, the best scene is at the end when they show Godzilla just light up the city, and as he turns around, he's staring at the camera, and they start the traditional music, and it's nice and slow, and he's just sitting there surrounded by fire looking at the camera. I mean, that was a fucking money shot right there. I would love to see something like that adopted into the new movie. I'm sure we won't see it, but man, can you imagine a new Godzilla design with that same scene where he just lights up the city with his radiation, and then he just kind of stares off at the camera, and you see the fire surrounding him, and the credits roll, and that music plays. Very, very nice ending. That's one thing about this movie I did like, and I do remember liking that as well. That ending was a money shot. I love it. I love it. Very good. So, it's It was a good movie. I actually enjoyed it. It was very, very good. One of the few movies in the series that I honestly can say I enjoyed from beginning to end. Story was simple, sci-fi type story. Aliens. We're used to seeing that in Godzilla. I thought Orga monster was very unique. I thought Godzilla's suit it was very, very seesaw. On one end, it was great design. On the other end, it was too overdone in some areas. I think if that suit gets tweaked a little bit, in my opinion, it could probably be one of the best suits they've ever had for him. You know, if they tweak some areas, yeah, I think it could be one of the best. You know, maybe the mouth, the spikes, things like that. Maybe give him a little bit more spikes on the top of his head or something, just to give it a little bit more, a little final touch. But overall, Godzilla 2000, very entertaining. I enjoyed it. And that's it for this review, guys. That's it. We are done with Godzilla 2000. We will continue the March of the King series next Wednesday. And we are going to be doing Godzilla versus Megaguirus. See you guys next Wednesday for the March of the King. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching ETN. Don't forget to subscribe and join the Nation Facebook page.
I love ETN.
ETN. Movies, games, and boobs.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob, and now we are back on track for the March of the King series. This is it. This is the home stretch, people. We got the Millennium series to cover, and once that's over, it'll take us into the week where the Godzilla movie will come out, and in that week, I will be doing two movies. I will be doing Godzilla Raids Again and the original Gojira 1954. Tonight, we are starting the Millennium series off with Godzilla 2000. You know, this movie, I remember when it came out in 2000, it came out in the theaters. Never got a chance to see it in the theaters. It was only in select areas. And, you know, I was like, oh, man, you know, didn't get a chance to go and check it out. Obviously, when it came out later on DVD, definitely got to see it. And, you know, tonight was probably the third time I've seen it overall. I hadn't seen it in a while. And honestly, I don't remember it being as good as it is. I think, like, tonight, I actually enjoyed watching the movie. Like, I'm not saying that the last time I watched it, I recall it like sucking or anything. I just didn't like it as much. But I think it's because at that time, I wasn't a big fan of the suit. Where over time, as time has progressed, I've grown to like the suit a lot more. It's still not my favorite one. Obviously, everybody knows my favorite one's the 84, and I have two other suits that I like before this one. But I